This year's BMW Hong Kong Derby brings together 14 of the very best 4-year-olds in training here in Hong Kong. All of them looking to join the list of all-time greats that have graced the turf here at Sha Tin.
Racing in the Derby.
It's Kotak about a half in front. Gayades is fighting back, but Kotak a little too strong. And Kotak wins the 83 Derby.
Ready in the 1991 Hong Kong Derby. River Verdon's got to the front. All round to Graham trying to go with it. But River Verdon, mighty good horse and a mighty great win in the Derby.
Vengeance of Rain kicked hard. Russian Pearl chasing him down. He's got two to make up, but Vengeance of Rain is pulling out more. What a great 4-year-old. Viva Bataka rushes up to Hollow Pretty, staying on out wide. Hail the Storm making ground. Stanley Ho can get anything he wants, but you can't buy this. You must earn it, and Viva Bataka does. Wins the Derby. The crowd will give him a huge roar. It's Extension being tackled and headed by Ambitious Dragon, and the favourite draws clear. Let Me Handle It goes to third, but what a great season Ambitious Dragon's having, and there's Derby glory for Maxime Guillaume and Tony Millard.
Rapid Dragon, Pakistan Star's eating up the ground. Rapid Dragon in front from Pakistan Star. The puzzle now complete. Rapid Dragon takes the Derby from Pakistan Star. It's history here at Sha Tin. Rapid Dragon, the unrivaled star of his generation.
Rapid Dragon, of course, the very first to create the clean sweep of the 4-year-old series. That won't happen this year. Very warm welcome to our Hong Kong Derby special. I'm Andrew Lejeune, joined here by a special guest in Graham Cunningham. Graham, different feel about this year's race. It was a one, maybe a 2-horse race last year, but there's probably half a dozen thinking they can win this time round.
Yeah, thanks. Great to be here. It's such a major week for Hong Kong racing, Andrew. And you're right, but the essential question, wherever you run a derby in the world, is whether you go with the proven speed horses, the proven stayers, and we have fascinating contenders from both categories this week.
All right, well, the barrier draw has just taken place, so we can have a look at that now. Of course, all important, certainly for some of the runners. Starting off with Nothing I Like More, the highest rated horse in the race. He's drawn barrier 13. It has been done before. Singapore Sling from barrier 3, the most popular barrier as far as winners concerned. 4 times the winner has come from barrier 3. Ping Hai Star, the second of the size runners, from 9. Exultant gets wide in 12. The Golden Age, lightly paced, barrier 11 for him. Ribbon, barrier 8, Damien Oliver in the saddle. Rivet, the 3 of John Moore's, barrier 6, and Rocketeer comes out of barrier 7 with Tommy Berry in the saddle. Dr. Jeff gets the visitor draw from barrier 14, but again it has been done. Rasan for Richard Gibson and Neil Callan from barrier 4. Lockheed from 10, Savvy 6 from 2. Good Omen off the inside in barrier 1, and Patriot Hero with barrier 5. So, who's come out best there, do you think, Graham?
Well, Tony Millard will be smiling a contented smile. Singapore Sling's had pretty good luck with the barriers all along. He's never met any adversity in his races so far, and with a draw like that this Sunday, he shouldn't really meet any adversity this time around.
We'll hear from Chad Schofield very shortly as well. Starting off with the John Size 2, though. Nothing I Like More, the highest rated horse in the race, and Ping Hai Star, who's fashionably late to this Derby party.
Yeah, Ping Hai Star is fashionably late, and he comes in an unusual outfit. Nothing I Like More ripped through his first 5 wins like a real champion. But the question for both horses when we look at them is stamina. Nothing I Like More doesn't have a pedigree which suggests he'll improve at the trip. Ping Hai Star, some very unusual data for him. 17 of the last 18 Derby winners had won over 1,600 metres plus. 11 of the 18 had won over 1,800 plus, and the exception, Elegant Fashion, had run really well over 2,000. What I'm trying to say is Ping Hai Star is trying to buck a very, very significant Derby trend.
Well, John Size is the trainer. He's won 2 before. Let's hear from him now about his 2 live chances. Ping Hai Star and Nothing I Like More.
Well, Nothing I Like More, drawn 13. There's been a few horses win from the outside gates, so I can't be too concerned about it. He's got plenty of pace, so he jumps away cleanly. He'll get up on the speed, and I think the draw shouldn't worry him too much from there. And then the other one, Ping Hai, well, he's probably important for him to be drawn in a little bit better at 9, because he might need a horse to follow or some cover at some stage.
Nothing I Like More. Since that run in the Classic Cup, he's had 2 trials. What's been the intention there, John?
He seems okay. He's been probably a little bit fresh when he's gone to the races. He hasn't had much racing this season, And I thought that maybe a couple more trials, a little bit more schooling and a bit of gate work might help him correct his manners a little bit. So the trial this week was very good for him. I think it's perfect.
And Pinghai Star, you said going into his last run, not sure whether to run or not. Was it just the way that he won last time that sort of made you decide to run him here?
Well, his racing manners were perfect last time he raced, and previous to that, he was a little bit irregular on the racetrack. We weren't quite sure how he was going to race, even though he was winning. But the last time he ran, he did everything perfectly. He was running last in the field and finished the race off quickly. Then he's grabbed a rating of 103, so he's sort of entitled to be there. He should be in the race, and it's just a matter of whether we can do it on the day.
So John doesn't seem too perturbed about either of the draws, and with Pinghai Star, I suppose he's forced his way into the Derby. They couldn't not run him, I suppose, the way he's been racing.
A handful of defeats, and then 3 really impressive wins, all at 1,400 metres. The latest success, which punched his ticket for this, was really commanding. He ripped home in 21.9 for the final 400 metres. That's the hallmark of a good horse and a very fast horse. But John, right through the middle section of the season, said physically he doesn't really look a Derby horse. He's worked his way into contention, but it's not an extra 200 or 400 metres. It's an extra 600 for Pinghai Star. He's going to have to do something that hasn't been done since the Derby moved to this distance in 2000.
Yeah, they've got the right man on board though. Ryan Moore flying in to take the right. What about Nothing I Like More? People are saying unconventional. He's trialled the week of the Derby. They're just trying to iron out a few barrier manners, which is far from ideal, is it? A week out from the big race.
Yeah, he was beaten here on International Day at 1.2, very short price, and it's been slightly mixed messages since then. The Classic Mile was a personal best for him, an emphatic success, and there's no doubt he is a Grade 1 horse. But then in the Classic Cup, things didn't really go his way. He didn't hit the line quite as hard as I hoped. His latest trial was better than his previous trial, and I'm sure he's such a high-quality horse that he's bound to run well. But from that draw, Andrew, he can't afford to miss the break in any way. And stamina, whatever happens, the final 200 is a new question for Nothing I Like More.
Well, speaking of draws, it may well be Singapore Sling who's fared best of all. South African bred, South African trained, and South African ridden as well. By chance go for it.
Singapore Slings win the Hong Kong Classic Cup, put him up as a live contender for the Hong Kong Derby. Chad, you're on board for that win. You're going to be on board for the Derby on Sunday. What have the last few weeks been like for you?
Yeah, they've been terrific. It's just fantastic to go into a race like the Hong Kong Derby on a live chance, and he's certainly one of those, and his win in the Classic Cup was dominant and very good, and he's trained on nicely since then, and yeah, looking forward to the race.
Singapore Sling, he wants vengeance for defeat in the Classic Mile. Race to a narrow lead from the Golden Age. Then Exultant, Nothing I Like More can't win, but Singapore Sling careering away with the Classic Cup. Singapore Sling.
He's a former South African horse. When he first came to Hong Kong, you rode him in his first couple of barrier trials. Did you think then that he could be a Derby type?
Obviously, we were always hopeful, but to be honest, he didn't show a great deal from day dot. He took a bit of time to acclimatise here and settle down and into his routine. But when he started to race, he obviously showed he has a lot of ability, and he just improved since then.
Nothing I Like More had beaten you in the Classic Mile. Going into the Classic Cup, though, the step up to 1,800 metres, did you think that you could turn the tables on him?
Look, he beat us fair and square in the Classic Mile. In the Classic Cup, I knew my horse would appreciate the further distance, and however, we were still always mindful of Nothing I Like More's ability, because he's a phenomenal horse. So we were confident without getting carried away, but we were able to have a lovely run in the race that day, and he was very good.
The lead up to the Classic Cup mustn't have been easy for you. Tony Millard, Richard Gibson are two of your main supporters here. You had a horse each for them, Singapore Sling and also Rattan, who you'd won on before. Was that a difficult decision for you to make?
It was. Obviously, Richard Gibson and Rattan's owners have been fantastic to me. I think I've won 3 or 4 races on the horse.
Rattan is getting going, but a lot of work to do. Inside the final 200 they go. It's Sergeant Titanium to Home Run, who's battling hard. Rattan is still gobbling up the ground. Daring Fit still on the scene as well. Sergeant Titanium, Daring Fit battling back. Here comes Rattan, and he gets there.
It wasn't an easy decision, but obviously I ended up making the right one, and Richard Gibson was the first to congratulate me, so it's all worked out well.
We spoke about Tony Millard before. He gave you your first win when you came to Hong Kong a couple of years ago. You've had a great association in that time. What's your relationship like with him, and what's he like to ride for?
Yeah, he's a very good trainer. I'm very thankful. I kicked it off with him from day dot. He's been fantastic to me. He's thrown me the majority of his support, and he's really helped me get going here in Hong Kong. And it's just great. We've now got this horse, Singapore Sling, and let's hope we can just keep building.
So Chad Schofield looking for his first Hong Kong Derby, Millard for his third.
And I think they have the right horse. He's only had 4 runs in Hong Kong, Singapore Sling. He's got significantly better with each of those runs. He beat a posse of strong Derby contenders fair and square. Exultant, Nothing I Like More, the Golden Age in the Classic Cup. And he relaxes so well that you have to think his chances of thriving at 2,000 metres are strong. It's hard to find a significant fault in this horse.
And the form was very strong coming out of South Africa as well. He's already proven at Group or Grade 2 level.
Yeah, you never know what's going to happen in the run, but from that draw, it's highly likely that he's going to get pretty smooth sailing. And when he does, he's a dangerous horse. He's on a strong upward curve, that horse.
All right, Tony Cruz, the Cruz Quartet, we're calling them. Exultant, of course, looks like he's going to be ideally suited to the step up to the 2,000 metres. He's got the likely pacemaker in the Golden Age as well, who's drawn wide. And the other two, Savvy Six and Dr. Jeff, maybe in the second bracket of chances, but each way shouts?
Yeah, perhaps, but Exultant and the Golden Age are the Cruz missiles, if you'll pardon the pun. Exultant's interesting because he wasn't behaving that professionally early on. Rhythm and repetition have been Zach Purton's watchwords, but he looks to be getting the hang of it. Cross noseband has helped him, and the one thing we know about Exultant is the stronger the test of stamina, the better he will run. When he won the handicap here 7 or 8 weeks ago over 2,000 metres, he looked a real elite horse. The Golden Age shouldn't be written off. I think he's going to set them a real target here.
Is 11 a disaster for him?
No, I don't think so, because I don't think there are too many fellow contenders for the pace-setting role. I think he'll get into a nice rhythm up front, and his latest trial was strong. His latest run was his best. I think he might get run down late, but I think it'll only be in the last 100, 150.
Yeah, whilst he's running his own race, the stablemate will love the pace that he sets for him.
The stronger, the better, I think, for Exultant. He's a high-quality horse. Remember something important about Exultant. He never even saw a racecourse until April of 2017. He very quickly got to a rating, I think, of 110 in Europe, 3rd in Churchill's Irish Guineas, 5th at Royal Ascot, and he's got slowly and slowly better in his behaviour and the way he finishes his races here. So he's the one you don't want on your tail with 150 metres to run, because he'll be coming home with real power.
All right, John Moore's the most successful trainer in Derby history with 6 wins. He's won 3 of the last 4. This year he's got Ribbon, Ribbit and Rocketeer, the 3 R's.
Yeah, it's all about the 3 R's for the John Moore trio. Of the trio, I like Ruthven, however you pronounce him. He's one of those interesting ones. He was probably the most talked about, even hyped horse in Hong Kong at the start of the season in the 4-year-old division. He's now gone to a place where people have, if not dismissed him, they doubt him. And I think that makes him quite dangerous, because he has slowly got better. His last win over 1,800, it was just a good quality handicap, and it was doer rather than zip acceleration. But we know from his Aussie form that he is a very strong, thorough stayer, and I think we might see qualities in Riven this Sunday that we haven't seen in previous races. I make him I definitely want to put him in trios, quartets, etc.
All right, John Moore has identified him as the pick of his 3, although he said Rocketeer works very well, but still said that Singapore Sling's the one to beat. But on the subject of Riven, Patriot Hero and Good Omen finished behind him last time, so can they finish in front of him this time?
If form means anything, they shouldn't. They both ran pretty well that day, but they were both behind Riven, and they were receiving £9. They meet him on level terms this weekend. It looks a tough shift for that pair.
The other 2 that we haven't mentioned, Lockheed for Danny Sherman, Nasharilla, and Rattan for Richard Gibson and Neil Callan.
I wonder whether they're real, true stayers. Rattan travelled pretty well for a long way in the Classic Cup. Richard Gibson was hoping for a high draw, unusual at this ceremony, hasn't got it. I'm not sure Rattan will really see out the trip, and likewise Lockheed, who's a good horse in Europe, but he's racing aggressively at 14 and 1600 here. He needs to relax to have a serious chance this weekend.
All right, so 14 go to posts. You can only choose 4 though, Graham. Has the barrier draw swayed you too much, or you're pretty happy with what you've got?
It has helped in my decision for 1 and 2, I was very torn between Exultant and Singapore Sling. I'm going to go for Singapore Sling because he seems to have a perfect draw. Exultant will come home strongly. I like Riven for 3rd place. I think he has that strong stamina potential to improve. And it goes against the grain to ignore John Size in any race in Hong Kong, but I detect possible stamina concerns for his powerful GOR, and therefore I've gone for the Golden Age for 4. But it's going to be a magical race. It's a very difficult race to win with any degree of ease, this race. Rapid Dragon did it last year. Generally, this is 3/4 of a length, half a length, neck, head. I expect a pretty tight finish this weekend too.
Yeah, and I'm not differing too much from you. I've got a sneaky feeling about Ping Hai Star, but we'll make my decision later on down the track. As far as the coverage is concerned, on Sunday, of course, for the BMW Hong Kong Derby, 12:30 will be live. The big race streamed live on the website, 4:35 for the Derby itself. You can follow us on Twitter, of course, as well. It's HKJC_racing. Well, there you go. The hard work is done, Graham. It's just down to the horses and jockeys now.
Yep, speed horses and stayers. And we need to be stayers to get through the weekend, but it's going to be a magical race, Andrew, when Pakistan Star, who runs in race 3, I think, on Sunday, when he's one of the supporting acts, you know you have a special event in store.
Yeah, well, enjoy Sunday. It's going to be a fantastic day. Hopefully we can count on your company again on Sunday when the Derby dream becomes a reality for one of this year's Classic Prop.
Is a real excitement machine. Nothing I like more from Singapore Sling in the Classic Mile. Nothing I like more can't win, but Singapore Sling careering away with the Classic Cup. Ping Hai Star's bursting through, charging after Mr. Genuine. Mr. Genuine in front, Ping Hai Star gathers him in. Got there. Golden Age fights hard. Donoso's driving at him. Marvel Hero bursting through, the Golden Age all the way.
Exultant is well clear. What an audition for the Derby. He wins very cosily indeed.